The Blast from Our Past Network.
Hello there, Star Wars fans.
And fellow whiskey nerds.
Our podcast, Star Wars and Whiskey Pours, gives you a weekly shot of whiskey reviews.
Combined with hot takes from all things in a galaxy far, far away.
So if you need a little Boba Fett and Blantons in your life,
or some Jedi and Jameson, then join me, Adam,
and me, Corey, on the Star Wars and Whiskey Pours podcast.
Found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all your favorite podcatchers.
May the whiskey be with you.
Lock your doors, close your windows, turn out your lights, for chills and thrills await you. It's time for Podcasting After Dark with your hosts, Corey Stevenson and Zach Schaefer. Stay with a friend, say your prayers as grisly ghouls close in to seal your doom. Tonight's episode, Freejack, starring Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, and Rene, Russo.
Speed, give me what I need. No, that's not what it is.
No, Zach, it is. Ready for the hit between the eyes. Someone get me out of here alive.
It's not bad. It's
Thanks,
not bad.
buddy.
Yeah,
Thanks.
It's pretty good.
I was practicing in the shower.
I know.
What's up, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Podcasting After Dark, the #1 cult movie podcast on the internet. I am one half of the pad team, Corey, a.k.a. Sleazy C. Joined with me is my brother from another mother, Zach, the total Snackage Schaefer. And this week we are covering 1992's Freejack.
Not Speed. Give me what I... Never mind. Not... Yeah, Freejack. Freejack. You know, I saw this movie in the theater with my mom.
Dude, I saw this movie in the theater with my dad, and I've never seen it since.
Me also.
So that covers our experience with Freejack. Zach, who brought us this illustrious review?
So Paulette is a friend of the show. She's been a Patreon supporter of both $2 Late Fee and Podcasting After Dark for a really long time. Territory Marks is in there too because, you know, she's a big wrestling fan as well. And Paulette is at the highest tier on our Patreon, which you can join as well at patreon.com/podcastingafterdark. And being at the highest tier, she is one of the producers of our content. So she gets to pick the movies. She chose, I remember I said, Paulette, what's the movie you want to choose for your next pick? She goes, how about Freejack? And I said, sure.
Sure. So Paulette has given us Knockabout. I think that was from 1972, I believe, 74, somewhere around there. A fun little kung fu film. She gave us Tales from the Hood, which we both loved. The Onion Movie, which we both freaking loved.
Yes.
Now we'll find out if we love Freejack or not. But Zach, I gotta call it out, man. I remember the Scorpion song all around this movie. I remember like the promotional push for this film with Mick Jagger is in it, and 92, like MTV is still like peak MTV. That Scorpion song is playing. I'm so fucking pumped for it, and you know, I remember not loving this movie when I saw it in the theater. And, you know, I don't really think that I'm alone in that because this movie kind of bombed in the movie theater. And I do think that that's a prerequisite for a cult classic. To make a cult classic, you have to not be successful. But I got a little background here on the movie real quick. And I'll throw this at you because it might enlighten us a little bit. First red flag. So Freejack was released in the U.S. on January 17th, 1992 by Morgan Creek and Warner Brothers. And Zach, January, even though I think Tremors dropped in January, but notoriously January is usually a dead month for films.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kiss of death. It still has been. August, January, February, all bad months for movies.
My birthday's never been a good month for movies, but sometimes you'll get, you know, some hits out of it, some unexpected hits like Tremors. With a budget,
that's true.
With a budget of $30 million, it only grossed $17 million domestic and $20 million worldwide. I'm talking about Freejack, not Tremors, of course. According to reports, The original version of the movie had a disastrous test screening, so producer Ronald Shusett was brought in to reshoot around 40% of the movie, that's never a good sign, and add more character scenes and humor. Emilio Estevez also mentioned how director Geoff Murphy let them down by focusing too much on action in his original cut of the film. Murphy, on the other hand, claims that the interference was from the production company Morgan Creek. It also didn't help that the critics were not very kind to Freejack. Owen Gleiberman at Entertainment Weekly said it was a cheap mishmash of Blade Runner, RoboCop, and Total Recall. Zach, do you agree with him? Is it a cheap mishmash of Blade Runner, RoboCop, and Total Recall?
Yeah, it is. I had said to Corey prior to recording, I said it's better than Highlander 2, and I'll stand by that. While this is not a sequel to any movie, it definitely feels like it borrowed from a lot of other concepts. I think on paper, potentially the idea is really neat. And then the execution, yeah, it's pretty obvious throughout this whole movie that did not live up to the hype or expectations. I remember when it came out. I remember the buzz for it. I remember seeing the trailers for it. And while at the time I wasn't like, oh, I want to go see a Mick Jagger movie, because who honestly says that? No one. And Anthony Hopkins, I think he was still pretty hot from Silence of the Lambs, which came out like 90 or 91, I feel like.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. And, well, let's cut to the chase on that. He's only in this for like 3 scenes. That's a whole other story. And Emilio! He had taken he hadn't done a movie since 1990, that being Men at Work, which I love. By the way, if you are a Patreon and you want us to break down or discuss Men at Work, we will happily do that with Charlie Sheen as well.
Love that movie.
Because that movie rules. That movie does rule. And this was the same year that Mighty Ducks came out. So this was like the new sanitized version of Emilio Estevez came out in 92 with the Mighty Ducks. And then he was in that franchise for I don't know how many movies. Our buddy Max could tell you that because I think he's a Mighty Duck fan. I am not.
I've never seen a single one of them.
Yeah, and I never will. But, that became the new thing. So already at this stage of Emilio's career, he was already he wasn't like a action. He wasn't Maximum Overdrive Emilio. He was kind of like, I don't know. You feel the vibe throughout this whole thing. He kind of looks like he's ready for a Disney movie, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, Zach, because we just reviewed Repo Man a couple weeks ago, and that was, at this point, was almost about 8 years prior to this. We've, reviewed Maximum Overdrive, and that is, 4 or 5 years prior to this in his timeline. Yeah. And those 2 movies there, he has such, an energy about him, such a young, zest for life. And I'm not saying he doesn't have it here, but he doesn't have it here. You know what I mean? You said it nail on the head. He's ready for Mighty Ducks, I think, at this point. Maybe I don't know, drug use, whatever, alcohol. Maybe he's ready just to slow down a little bit. But I think a lot of people kind of more remember him for Mighty Ducks than a lot of stuff like Freejack. I mean, I remember Freejack, but when I think about this movie, I think about Mick Jagger. That's kind of what I remember about it, and his fucking stupid helmet. But Emilio's energy in this film, and could also be, we're looking at, a lot of this movie's reshoots, so he might have already lost his zest for this film. But yeah, there's just something missing from his performance here that we just saw in Repo Man, and Christ, he's electric in Repo Man.
Well, and this may annoy or anger people, whatever, but Young Guns 1 and 2 they're okay. They're not top tier westerns for me. I'll put them on to show people a nostalgic flick, but he was already wearing on me at this point in his Young Gun phase, because I'm like, give me Lou Diamond Phillips and Kiefer Sutherland. Honestly, everybody in Young Guns is terrific, kind of except for Emilio Estevez. Emilio Estevez, to me, in the Young Guns franchise, comes off as just being annoying, when he's supposed to be cocky and, brash, he comes off as an annoying little brother, which honestly kind of has annoying little brother vibes in this too.
If he was Rene Russo's younger brother in this movie, because that's definitely the vibe that comes off. But I think it's important, Zach, to talk about Young Guns right now, because the director directed Young Guns Part 2.
Yeah.
And I do remember liking Young Guns back in the day. I was never a big Western fan. I kind of actually started loving Westerns after Tombstone and Unforgiven. That was sort of my barrier or breakthrough into Westerns. Although I had seen Young Guns, it just was never high in my rotation. But I do remember kind of enjoying them. But I also remember there was massive hype around Young Guns too. Like, that was a big fucking movie. So this is Emilio's follow-up to that. It's also the director's follow-up. And when we get into the director's filmography, this bomb certainly does not help the trajectory of his career, because I think there are two alternate realities that's the sliding door scenario. One alternate reality is this movie did really well, and that director, Geoff Murphy, goes on to do amazing things. And in the reality that we live in, where it doesn't do well, Geoff Murphy goes off to do like Under Siege 2 and shit like that. Like things that are just not top shelf. But this was Young Guns 2 was right before this, Zach. So I mean, we got to talk about.
And Men at Work. Men at Work was the other one too. Yeah,
and so I know that you just said you didn't love Emilio in it, but you have to admit it was a pretty successful film. Like, everyone was into like the whole Young Guns thing. So the trajectory was there at this point, probably when this movie got greenlit.
Oh yeah, look, I get it. Like I said, he's the least likable part of Young Guns 1 and 2. And he's the lead, And by the way, he directed and wrote Men at Work, which I think is pretty amazing.
Yeah. No, I knew that. Yeah.
But yeah, and like he went on to do Judgment Night after this. And again, he's the least kind of likable character in Judgment Night also.
Yeah, didn't we covered that, I think, on Talking Back, or it was like a Swampcast episode. Yeah, we did revisit that recently, and I do remember, I think we both enjoyed the movie, but again, Emilio! Dude, he only, for me, in my memory, when I think about movies that he's in, he only stands out in Maximum Overdrive and in Repo Man.
Yeah, I would say That Was Then, This Is Now is one of his best acting performances as well. And he's a supporting actor in that, though. He's not the lead. I think he's better at when he's, with a large ensemble. This does have a large ensemble of really great names, but he's supposed to carry the movie. It kind of, what this feels like also? It's, I know you said Total Recall, and yeah, definitely like Schwarzenegger would be more, or Stallone even, doing
like a Demolition Man sort of scenario.
Yeah, in this? which I'm okay with. I would have rather had it be darker, more dystopian, or like scrap it all and make it super low budge, and cast somebody else, like kind of a no-name-ish type person from the 90s, or give me Eric Roberts maybe, and not that he's a no-name, but like give me somebody of lesser kind of stock, you know what I'm saying, at that time. And probably would have enjoyed this more. But the fact that it's like got this kind of A-list cast, your expectations are A-list. And then you realize, ooh, this is just a hair above Highlander 2, and Highlander 2 is trash. So,
I think this movie, budget-wise, it needed at least like another 10 to 15 million, bare minimum. Like, give it like 20 million, great, but bare minimum, it needs 10 to 15, and maybe getting, using somebody else, not Emilio, you can take some of his resources, the funds to pay him, and put it into somebody else. I don't know what the answer is. We're going to discuss it more during our general discussion. There's so many concepts in this movie that I absolutely love and that are right up my alley, bro. And just the execution on them is, leaves a little bit something to be desired. But Zach, you did mention the stellar supporting cast in this film. Why don't we, before we talk about more about the director and the writer and everybody, let's talk about that stellar supporting cast, because it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned Emilio, and Mick Jagger, mean, clearly you don't have to go down his route or down his resume. But Rene Russo plays Emilio's mom in this movie. Sorry.
Yeah, no, God. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but yeah.
Emilio plays Edward Furlong. Oh, that tracks, because Edward Furlong was like, he was either dating or married to someone who was like 35 years older than him or something like that.
Well, he plays Alex Furlong, but yes.
No, that's why I'm calling him Edward Furlong, because the real Edward Furlong did have like a relationship with somebody it was like,
really?
Oh, yeah. Oh. Problematic. Yeah. So Anthony Hopkins literally is in this for 3 scenes, I think, maybe 4 scenes.
The interesting thing, though, he's clearly shooting in front of like a green screen for it, and it's so painfully obvious that when you watch it, but then the reveal is that it is all fake. I was like, oh, that actually really works for this. Whether the fakeness was intentional or not, the end result was actually something I was like, oh, that works. That really is something in this movie that absolutely fucking works. And it's like this early idea of CGI, you know, like an early Lawnmower Man concept.
Oh,
and
big time Lawnmower Man vibes with the third act of this. Yeah. And I don't have a problem with the fact that it's his cameo, but you know, but this was a time when they would put they would put a big name at the top of the, you know, poster. Yeah. And then next thing you know, it's like he's teased and you barely see him.
Yeah, he's in the fucking poster. And I looked it up. Silence of the Lambs was the year before. So he is mega high on his career right now.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, this is not like he's in this longer than, like, say, Steven Seagal was in Executive Decision.
Right.
But at the same time, too, they didn't put Steven Seagal's name at the top of the poster like they did with Anthony Hopkins.
No, and I kind of almost feel like we didn't even see him in the trailers. Like, I feel like the Steven Seagal Executive Decision cameo was the best kind of cameo because you kind of didn't see it coming, and you didn't see, like, his death coming either.
Well, and that's because he pissed off the director. That's why.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a story behind it. I thought it was actually planned out.
Oh, there's a story
with cool.
Literally,
Steven Seagal.
Everything with Steven Seagal has a story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's like Swingers. Everybody's got a story.
Right. I mean, so this guy is, as the kids say, low-key star of the film as the villain. He's the true villain of it. It's Jonathan Banks, who I think most people now know from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Yeah. But Jonathan Banks, who we talked about in Otherworld back in like early episodes of TV Obscura, if you look at his career from the 80s, he was in 48 Hours. He was in Beverly Hills Cop. He was in so many movies as a villain or just like a standout supporting actor. And it's funny to me, like, not funny, but, you know, the guy is in his, practically his 70s now, and he's finally getting the recognition he deserves.
Yeah, no, he's one of my favorite actors in the movie. He's fantastic. I mean, he's been in everything from Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai to Gremlins to, like you said, Breaking Bad and everything.
Yeah, look up his resume. It's insane what this guy has done.
Yeah, no, Jonathan Banks is top tier.
He is. And then, you know, you got Mick Jagger in this, who obviously is a musician first, actor, I wouldn't say second, I would say musician first, father second, musician first, grandfather first, second, yeah, and then down to the bottom of the list, actor.
I mean, this was like his biggest sort of mainstream thing. It was such a big deal that he was in this movie, and I gotta say, I think he does a fine job in this film. I think he's got charisma. Obviously, he's got presence. I actually really like his character. It's not his fault that the costume designer put him in the dumbest costume I've ever seen in my life. Somehow, the movie Freejack makes Mick Jagger look like a dork. And guys and gals, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're just listening to us at home, you're not driving, do this. Go and Google Star Trek toy helmet. You will see a picture of a kid wearing the dumbest Star Trek, like a stupid ass helmet that has the name Spock on it, and it's like oversized, it's too big, and it's got a light on the top, and that's exactly what Mick Jagger looks like in this film.
It's pretty accurate, yeah. Actually, but I think I actually find him very entertaining in this film.
Yeah.
He was at one point supposed to be, I think it was in Fitzcarraldo, the Werner Herzog movie with Klaus Kinski. He was originally going to be in that with Jason Robards.
Yep.
And then they recast. They like shot a bunch of stuff, and then they recast both characters with Klaus Kinski and then another guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. I like this budding friendship that him and Alex Furlong have during the whole movie, this antagonistic sort of friendship, because he is supposed to be the villain, the antagonist of the movie. But, and like Zach, we've talked about it before. I love movies like The Killer, where it's like a cop and a villain or, criminal have to work together to do stuff. Like, I love it when two people that shouldn't be friends become friends. And this movie with Mick Jagger and Emilio Estevez's characters, it starts to do that. It doesn't quite get into like a place that I love it for, but I do love that they tried to do that, and I do kind of love how their relationship ends in such a positive way.
Yeah, me too. I've got no complaints about that. I've got complaints about other things.
I've got complaints about his giant fucking helmet.
His giant helmet, yeah. So Mick Jagger is not the only musician turned actor in this. David Johansen is also in this. A lot of people know him as Buster Poindexter, but he was originally the New York Dolls, which was a punk rock band back in the 70s. And, he's been in everything from Scrooged to a really kind of fun, wacky comedy called Let It Ride with Richard Dreyfuss. He's been in a lot of things. Sadly, he passed away last year at the age of 75. Or actually, last year. Had a really tough bout with like cancer or something like that. Anyways, really talented dude. He was one of the leads in Car 54 Where Are You, the reboot that they did for the TV series.
Yeah.
I never saw that, but I heard it was pretty funny. I'm sure John C. McGinley's also in that. Anyways, David Johansen / Buster Poindexter.
Yeah, that was his stage name, right? Buster Poindexter.
Yeah, when he was doing "Feeling Hot, Hot, Hot."
Yeah, I know that song.
Oh no! Literally a wedding anthem.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, as someone who watches Scrooged every Christmas, I mean, he's always the ghost of Christmas Christmas past to me. But
the
so
taxi
it's awesome,
driver, yeah,
the taxi driver. So it's fun to see him not with the makeup and everything. I kind of wish his character had a little bit more to do in this movie, but what he's doing in it is fun.
I mean, it's telegraphed from a mile away what his character is gonna do. And it's pretty obvious. But yeah, when he gets disposed of, you're like, oh, he's dead already? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a little unceremonious. And even, Alex Furlong, because this is like his friend and everything. And one of the concepts that I love about this movie that I wish it would kind of delve into more is the fact that everything that's happening to Alex, just a day ago, he was back in 1991. Everyone else has been 18 years. And so him seeing, his buddy get killed, he was like, oh, okay. And then he just runs away. I get the heat of the moment and everything, but feel something, you know what I mean? Feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's it. That's where, a lot of these concepts that are really cool on paper don't really play out like you like them to do in the movie.
Yeah. So there's a lot, again, like you said, fun concepts that they play with, one being the lawlessness and the recklessness, and you're taking characters and archetypes that would typically be more considered they kind of flip it on its lid. So for example, Amanda Plummer plays a nun in this, and her nun character is not what you would expect, which is awesome. But then they don't give her enough. But Amanda Plummer, I think most people know her from Pulp Fiction. Any one of you motherfucking whatever.
Yeah,
move, I'll blast every one of you. Whatever she says. Anyways, I love her in So I Married an Axe Murderer as Nancy Travis's sister. Oh God, she's so funny in that. That movie is all. I love that movie from top to bottom. She's great in this though.
Yeah, she has 2 scenes. They're both so much energy, so much fun. At one point, the Jonathan Banks's character, what was it, Michelette or something like that?
Michelette, yeah.
Yeah, Michelette, yeah. So he's the bad guy. He brings her in because she had to sort of help out Alex Furlong, and they're chasing after him. And he's doing his tough guy routine on Amanda Plummer, and she's a nun, and he smacks her across the face, and she falls over, she's kind of crying. So you think that he's got the upper hand, no pun intended, and she kind of looks up, she's I think she says something Jesus teaches us to turn the other cheek, but she never had to deal with an asshole like you. And she kicks him in the nuts, and his two guards are just standing next to her, and Jonathan Banks' character just crumbles. He doesn't he crumbles and passes out, and the scene ends. It's actually one of the best scenes in the entire fucking movie, but you don't even know what happened to her, but the fact that she destroys his nuts is fucking hilarious. That scene is great.
It is hilarious. They should have followed up though. What happened to her? You never find out.
Well, there's also another scene that I was pissed off that they don't follow up when Mick Jagger's character Victor is kind of what is he interrogating Esai Morales' character Ripper?
Oh, yeah.
And he's basically testing out a lie detector machine, and Ripper's like, why are you asking me these questions? I'm faithful to you. And Mick Jagger's character's like, I was testing the machine, not you. Now go test our men, because he's looking for a leak. And then we never get a follow-up to that. I want just a scene where Mick Jagger's shooting a guy in the head because he was the leak, and then it goes into the scene. But just give us that at the beginning of a scene. They never follow up on it. Just like they never follow up on Amanda Palmer's nun. You don't know if the two goons kill her right there. You don't know.
You never see Ripper again either, I think, after that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm pretty sure. One guy who always stands out for me in every role, and he stood out to me in person in the men's locker room at the local pool here. I did see him.
I know. You saw his Grandel Bush.
I did. Grandel Bush plays Boone, who swims at the local pool in my neighborhood, which is pretty funny. And we've talked a few times. He's actually good buddies with Stoney Jackson. And of course, they were in Streets of Fire together. And not only that role, but Grandel Bush is great in everything that he's in.
He's great in this.
Die Hard. I think this is one of his more stronger supporting roles where you're I want to know more about this guy.
Yeah, his character has more meat on its bones than usually I think he kind of gets, Yeah, I liked him. And again, Zach and I talked offline about this, how amazing the supporting cast is in this movie.
Yeah, there's a homeless guy in this played by Frankie Faison, who I think most people would know from Do the Right Thing and Coming to America. He's one of those character actors that you see, and every time he turns up, he's good. This, it's a little heavy-handed, but I do like his character.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
John Shea has a small role in this.
He's great. I've
He's
always
great.
loved that dude.
And I'm this guy should be in more things. Well, he was more, I think he's more known for his television acting. He was on Lois and Clark. Yeah. But he's kind of been around for a really long time. He kind of has that generic white guy look, dark hair, brown eyes.
Yeah, but he should have been in more stuff, because I do. I like him every time I see him. To me, he's always, oh, it's that guy. Oh yeah, that guy. No clue what he's from, but oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, dude, he's awesome. He's awesome in this, and he's got a great little role, and it's comes and goes. This movie's a very much a point A to point B chase film, and you meet people along the way and everything. Yeah,
and I mean, he really quickly he played Lex Luthor in that Lois and Clark TV series.
Okay.
I think that's what most people would know him from.
Probably.
But yeah, it's such a kind of a bummer. Maybe he was content with what he did. Who knows? Maybe we'll interview him someday down the road. I don't know. Doubtful, but I just like him anyways.
Yeah, me too.
And then Esai Morales, you said he's in two scenes, I think. And one scene he's wearing glasses that cover up an eyeball, and then he takes the glasses off and he's got two normal eyes. He does have a scar on his face, but
yeah.
So what's the point of wearing a?
I know. I thought the same thing. And the scar's wicked.
Scar's cool.
Awesome. The makeup on the scar is his whole side of his face is all scarred up. And then, yeah, you're like, okay, I assume, yeah, his eyeball's going to be white or milky. It's going to be cut, something, and then he takes off his glasses. And I swear to God, it was just probably the makeup people. Like, when they blocked the scene, they didn't expect him to take off his glasses. And then they're like, well, we're stuck with that now. But yeah, so he's got two normal eyes, but yet the glasses are like one is shaded,
Yeah, at least make a comment about the light sensitivity. But
something.
Anyways, last person I'll mention is Jerry Hall, and most people will be like, "Who's that?" I think she was married to Mick Jagger at the time. It's probably why she got the role in the movie. But she's a fashion model, and she was big in the fashion scene in the '80s, growing up with like Andy Warhol and Blondie and all those people.
Oh, she was Joker / Jack Napier's girlfriend that he kind of made half her face like melt or whatever. That's where I've seen her from. The whole time I was like, and she's in it for like 2 seconds, but the whole time I was like, why do I recognize her? Yeah, Batman,
she was kind of part of that New York, that New York vibe in the 80s. And, I'm sure a lot of cocaine was floating around, but like, Andy Warhol had her on his show on MTV for a while, and she's just one of those fashion model people.
I meant to ask earlier with Amanda Plummer, is she related to Christopher Plummer?
Actually, you know what? She's the daughter of Canadian actor Christopher Plummer.
Oh, okay. So wait, was he? I didn't know he was Canadian.
I didn't know he was Canadian either. But do you ever get Christopher Plummer mixed up with Christopher Lee?
No, because Christopher Plummer is from
Dreamscape.
Sound of Music.
Yes. I don't know why. Maybe because they're both Christopher and they're both white and both tall. I always got them mixed up. I'm like, is it Christopher Plummer or Christopher Lee? Anyways, Amanda Plummer is his daughter.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think, she's had as just a good of a career as her father did. And she's been in so many projects, like I said, Pulp Fiction, but Fisher King and like so many other great things. Anyway, she's great and kooky too, like very cute, like
like quirky type of character and everything. Yeah. Did you have any other actors you wanted to call out, or did you want to move on to the director?
Director, let's get into, but I also want to shout out some of the other crew members too.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So Geoff Murphy, like we said, he did Young Guns 2, but then, after the trajectory of this, he went on to do Dante's Peak.
Which is good, by the way. It's good.
Okay, sure, okay. I mean, I remember watching it, because that was the year, like, that and Volcano.
It's better than Volcano. It's better than Volcano.
I know. There's always two, and one's always better than the other, and I will always like Deep Star 6 better than Leviathan. Okay, but Dante's Peak, let's admit, it maybe wasn't the biggest hit of all time, though.
It's not a big hit, but it's better than Volcano.
Okay. And then he did Under Siege 2, which I've actually heard is decent.
It's good.
I've never seen it, but at the same time, Zach, people don't talk about it like they talk about Under Siege 1.
But you know why? Because it doesn't have the same... it doesn't have Gary Busey and Tommy Lee Jones as villains in it, because the lead villain in it is Eric Bogosian, and I think people know him from that talk radio movie. But Everett McGill, who you love from People Under the Stairs, he is an amazing villain in it, like beyond amazing. And it takes place on a train. So actually, I would say that Under Siege 2 is underappreciated.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I would definitely check it out one of these days.
He did Fortress 2.
He did do Fortress 2.
I love how it's called Fortress 2 Re-Entry, and it's like such a porno name.
I know. God.
Right? But yeah, like The Last Outlaw was a pretty decent movie. It's a decent straight-to-video movie with Mickey Rourke before his face melted. He did an made-for-HBO movie called Blindside with Rebecca De Mornay and Ron Silver and Rutger Hauer. And Jonathan Banks. Jonathan Banks is in that as well.
What a cast.
Mariska Hargitay is in it too, for all you Law and Order SVU fans. I remember liking that movie. I'm going to do an episode, and I mentioned this to Corey and Dustin on the latest episode of Tales from the Video Store. I want to do an episode on $2 late fee of like favorite made for HBO movies from the 80s and early 90s.
Okay.
Because there's some good ones in there.
Yeah. He also did this movie that I've been wanting to watch for so long. It's on my watch list, called The Quiet Earth. Came out in 1985. It's about a scientist that kind of wakes up and like no one's left on Earth and all this kind of stuff. And I think it's a different take on like the Last Man sort of thing. But it's been high on my watch list for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, oh, you know why? Because I think he's Australian, or I think he shot that movie in Australia because he did a movie right after that called Never Say Die with Lisa Eilbacher from Deep Star 6 and George Wendt.
Well, wasn't like Young Guns 2 shot in like Australia or something?
I think it was, yeah. And Tamora Morrison is the lead actor in Never Say Die.
Oh, no shit. Jango
yeah.
Fett.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Once Were Warriors?
I did. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, that one's rough, but he's fucking amazing in that movie.
He is, and this movie Never Say Die is like a quirky comedy.
No shit.
I'm a big Lisa Eilbacher fan. If you've ever seen Livewire with Pierce Brosnan, you would like that, Corey.
I have seen Livewire. Yeah. I haven't seen it since VHS back in the day, but I do remember seeing it.
I still own the VHS, which is
no shit.
Yeah,
But Tim Morrison in a zany comedy, I am down for that.
Yeah, it's quirky, and George Wendt has a small role in it because I went on a deep dive when George Wendt died, and I'm like, what other things did he do in the 80s? Worth checking out. So Geoff Murphy, and I say Geoff because it's spelled Geoff, and I'm like, come on,
Geoff, come on, Geoff.
Come on, Geoff.
I got to call out, Zach. The screenplay was written by Dan Gilroy. He's Tony Gilroy's brother who, he worked on Rogue One, but Dan Gilroy worked on Andor. He wrote Nightcrawler. He is a massive name that is working and now making amazing stuff now, but he worked on Andor season 1 and season 2. But yeah, the Gilroys are a big writing brothers.
Okay.
I think there's 3 of them, I believe.
But
the other screenwriter is and producer Ronald Shusett, who wrote and produced Alien.
I mean, he's got. He worked on Aliens and Total Recall the terrible remake, and he's got a resume, a sci-fi resume. So yeah, on paper this looks great.
Yep, on paper this movie is fucking perfect.
Yeah, which is really a bummer. Because look, and the cinematographer is someone who still I think pretty much works today, Amir Mokri, who shares a birthday with me. That's why I was giving Amir a shout out. But has worked on movies from the Transformer films, and we're talking cinematography. Man of Steel. He was the DP on Man of Steel. Season of the Witch, which is a fairly decent sword and sorcery movie with Nick Cage that came out in 2011. Fast and Furious. We're talking Bad Boys 2, Salton Sea, Coyote Ugly. And then horror.
Oh, I remember horror. I remember renting that as a kid, being so excited for that. Or it came on HBO or something. Somehow I was excited to watch that movie. And it was not as, sleazy as a young, 11, 12-year-old Corey wanted. I'm sure it was deep and heavy and all this kind of stuff. And, but yeah, the cover for horror is burned into my brain.
It's not the Bad Lieutenant that we got.
Yeah.
I would rather flip that. If you want a fun story about Bad Lieutenant, look up who originally was cast in Bad Lieutenant and what happened with all that. It's wild, y'all. Wild. Yeah. Anyways, he did Slam Dance. I've just literally brought up Slam Dance. You were just
talking about Slam Dance. You were just fucking talking about that. What episode was I on talking to you? It was Repo Man, because we were talking about movies about dancing styles, and there was a movie about slam dancing.
Yeah,
wow.
Tom Hulse, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Virginia Madsen, Don Keith Opper, who we love in Critters, Adam Ant, Harry Dean Stanton, John Doe. It's directed by a guy named Wayne Wang. I'm sold, dude. I so want to rewatch this movie Slam Dance. I need to track it down.
And apparently Amir Mokri, this movie here was the first time he had ever shot with anamorphic lenses, and he wouldn't do that again until Transformers: Dark of the Moon. So,
well, yeah,
interesting.
I will say the cinematography is really good. It's it definitely, it's of its time.
Yeah,
I'm not
feels like a
poo-pooing
90s
on it.
movie. Yeah.
Feels like a 90s movie. Yeah, I'm not poo-pooing on it at all. I want to shout out the composer.
Yes, please.
Trevor Jones. And Trevor Jones. Trevor Jones. Okay, so this dude's resume as a composer, I'm going to run down the list of films that he's done that I guarantee if you haven't seen, you just know, okay? He's been around for quite some time. He actually got his start in the 70s as a composer. But then when he was the composer for Excalibur, a creepy movie called The Sender. I know Corey's heard of it, maybe not seen it.
Okay.
Dark Crystal, he did the music for that.
Yep.
He did the music for Runaway Train, the Eric Roberts.
Great movie.
Yeah. John Voight also is in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Labyrinth. Dominic and Eugene, which, by the way, Dominic and Eugene is a really great, like, feel-good kind of dramedy, more drama than comedy. Labyrinth, Angel Heart.
Yeah.
Angel Heart.
It's a wild movie.
Yep. Sea of Love, Bad Influence.
Cliffhanger.
Yep. Cliffhanger, Arachnophobia, Chains of Gold, which is a John Travolta movie when John Travolta was not hot. And it's a good, like, kind of gritty crime movie. Love that movie.
Alex Proyas's Dark City. That movie's fucking fantastic.
Dark City classic, modern classic for me. Last of the Mohicans. In the Name of the Father. Both movies star Daniel Day-Lewis. Kiss of Death, which was when really cool Nicolas Cage role where David Caruso was the lead and Samuel L. Jackson's in that. If you haven't seen Kiss of Death, that movie's rad. Hideaway, which is a pretty decent thriller with Jeff Goldblum. Like, these are all really good movies that he's done. The G.I. Jane, you know, like, look at this amazing filmography that Trevor Jones has done. You never bring up no one ever brings up Trevor Jones when they talk about composers, and that's kind of a bummer, because I'll be honest with you, one of the things I liked about this movie was the quirky score.
Yeah, no, dude, it was the score is great. You know, like, we've spent a lot of time talking about the actors and the people behind the scenes and stuff, because again, on paper, so much about this movie should work, and it's just sometimes, man, the lightning, it just doesn't strike, you know what I mean? And I know this movie has its fans, and you know, I've talked to our friends online when I said I was going to review this and everything, and you're like, "Oh, it's a fun movie, and I like it." And I'm like, "Yeah, but do you? But is it? But is it though?"
And I'll piggyback on you saying the reason why we bring up the cast and crew and getting into kind of the weeds of them is to show that this movie had everything going for it.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, first of all, it's like an hour and 46 minutes or something like that.
It's nuts. I think it's an hour and 50 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
It's way too
20
long.
minutes too long.
Way too long.
This is a chase fast. Think about the Trancers was like 85 minutes long, maybe even less. I think it might have been 78 minutes long. And that movie to me is like perfect pacing. It starts and it finishes and you're done and you get the whole point. This is 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes too long of just stuff that is so insignificant, you don't need it.
Right. And it keeps adding on stuff that it doesn't elaborate further.
No.
And you're like, okay, don't keep adding to things and that you haven't even sort of explained to begin with. But before we kick off our sort of general discussion and everything, let's roll the trailer for this real quick.
Alex Furlong is about to die. And enter the year 2009, where immortality is only a heartbeat away, where money can buy anything.
Shouldn't you consider an alternative body?
Sorry to deceive you. Including life itself.
Why me? Why don't they just grab somebody who's alive now?
Take a look at these people, Alex. They've lived half their lives with no ozone layer.
Tell me who's behind all this.
I'm sorry.
can't tell you that.
Alex, don't you remember me?
He died, Jewel. Someone paid to bring him back.
I watched you die.
Welcome to my mind. Don't resist. Lose your mind, and you can live forever. Freejack.
Since we're not going to do a full-fledged breakdown for this movie, I wrote up a little, little abbreviated story to kind of get everybody through it, refresh everybody's memory, because I'm sure most people listening have seen this. So, Paulette, thank you again for giving us Freejack. I'm sorry for what's about to happen to you, but but here is my little story. Like to hear it? Here it goes. Emilio Estevez plays Alex Furlong, an up-and-coming F1 driver that dies in a spectacular car crash during a race in 1991. At the exact moment of his death, Alex is teleported 19 years in the future so that his body can be inhabited by a dead billionaire's brain. Escaping that fate, Alex must navigate a dystopian future where the middle class has been crushed and there's only the rich and the poor. While trying to reconnect with his lost love, Julie, played by Rene Russo, Alex is pursued by bonejacker mercenaries led by Victor Vasendek, played by Mick Jagger, who were hired by a mysterious benefactor to retrieve Alex's body, now designated as a Freejack.
I hate to interrupt you, Corey, but you hear how the emphasis Corey put on that? As a Freejack. Like he's like really trying to sell how cool this is.
After I read this to my wife, she was like, I want to watch that movie. And I was like, no, you don't. As Alex fights his way up the corporate ladder, he becomes a hero to the downtrodden. But he doesn't do it alone. A fantastic assortment of character actors aid our hero out of time and prove that the real reward is the friends you make along the way. So Zach, again, I said this before, that on paper, this is everything a Corey movie should be. This is somebody who loves Split Second, this is everything a Corey movie should be. And, there's concepts here that I do enjoy, like this idea that David Johansen barely touches on it, but like this idea that you have to be very specific about where you pull somebody out of back in time. Like you have to have the device exactly where they were. And I imagine it has something to do with I like the idea of you getting really into the weeds of time travel and like how you actually have to take like the Earth's rotation through space around the sun into, cause like a day prior, and the Earth isn't there anymore, and he's out in the middle of space essentially. Like if you bring him through time, I want to get into the minutia of that they don't really. Another thing that I really like that they don't get in the minutia of is this whole he becomes this hero to the people. We see that done so much better in Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger's character because we actually see people cheering him on. We don't see anyone's point of view outside of his in this movie, so I get no sense that anyone's paying attention to him at all, but apparently the whole world's like cheering for him, and it doesn't come across. And then I mentioned earlier the idea that perspective, like Julie's perspective versus Alex's perspective. Like to her, he's been gone for 18 years, and it's like how do you do you want to give up the life that you have for him? But for him, it's only been one day. Like that is a concept that I find so just heartbreaking. It's a deep concept. Like I want that explored further. And you mentioned the runtime of this movie, an hour and 50 minutes. We get so much bullshit. Like I don't need all these action scenes. I want them to touch on this stuff more. I want him and Rene Russo's character to have more discussions and connections, and once they sort of get together, they're together. I want them to be like together, but we can't be together because it's been 18 years. Like all these little things that just barely get touched on. Like I want you to elaborate on that shit. Like we haven't said it in a while, but this is a movie that could be turned into a TV show. Like if you're going to give us an hour and 50 minutes of something, then really expand out some of these really cool fucking concepts.
Well, they did with Westworld. So
right. Yeah. Good call, buddy. Good call.
I mean, this film needed a scrolling introduction with narration. And
yeah, that would
because
help.
You suddenly, so there's this concept that, people take younger bodies from another time to basically give themselves a new lease on life, a new shell, right? That's what Anthony Hopkins' character wants to do. But we don't see it done before that. And so we're just kind of left with this idea of like, it's already a pre-existing idea. We just have to know it. But it would have been nice to like know that this thing had existed for a while, and the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer and the rich keep getting younger. And that could be a concept they play on, but they don't even really talk about any of that. There's like all these things. And then there's so much filler, there's like a club scene where Alex gets drunk and he's drunk for 5 minutes and then he's sober.
That's the one time you see the only boob though in the movie, so I'm okay with that scene.
Sure, and he's funny and it's a silly scene, but I'm like, do you need this scene?
Yeah.
And then also, like, like you mentioned in your mini breakdown, there's a cavalcade of these interesting actors that pop up throughout the movie to help him. But then they come in and they're gone. They come in and they're gone. The John Shea character, who is like, may or may not have been Rene Russo's like love interest in these past 18 years. He pops up for 2 scenes and then he's just gone. Like, you don't see him literally get killed, which you should have seen. You don't see Amanda Plummer's nun get killed, which you should have seen. Boone, he basically dies, but these also too, when we talk about pyrotechnics in movies and explosions and, certain people like William Lustig, who we covered on the Lustig Factor, was so great at explosions. This is probably the weakest explosions I've ever seen in my entire life in a movie.
Yeah. It's like the action isn't strong enough to keep me engaged, but all the other stuff is like the actual ideas and concepts and characters. So I'm like, make this less of an action movie, but I get the mandate. I understand, Morgan Creek's mandate. This has to be probably at the time a summer action blockbuster film. It feels that that's the intent, but knowing that it dropped in January and, what we see, it doesn't quite hit it. But like, like the fact that David Johansen's character, it's like, hey man, like I was like, your body was gone when when Emilio Estevez's character dies, his car explodes. It's a really cool scene. That's probably the best stunt in the entire film.
It's so good they replay it 3 times in the movie.
I mean, why not? They played it in the trailer. I remember it. It's one of the few things I remember about the movie. But like, he talks about like, he's like, I looked for a fucking, just a piece of you so I could claim you on my insurance. And he's like, and I love the idea of him being just baffled for years about like, where did the body go? And then he starts hearing about the whole Freejack concept, and this is like starting to become a thing. And he's like, I knew it. I knew you got Freejack. But like, when you start playing with time travel, but from the perspective of a person that has to live everything in real time, he gets his answer, but he doesn't know when he's going to get his answer. But again, to Alex Furlong, it was yesterday. I love all these ideas, but also Zach, as far as the action goes, what really fucking kills me is the design department. I hate the way the laser guns look, buddy. We are in 1992 and they are doing the 1950s, 1960s style of laser gun where they put like a clear plastic rod on an end of like a gun, and it's like, oh, now it's a laser gun. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, Aliens, Terminator is all behind us in our lives, and you're giving us this? Then like the car designs are fucking atrocious.
Oh, it's straight out of a 70s Italian post-apocalyptic movie, all the 70s ones that came out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fucking terrible. It thinks it's inspired, but it isn't. And then the Bonejackers, which is such a cool name for what you are, but you don't see much about them. But then their armor is stupid looking. I will give it this, Zach. It's one of the few times in any movie where the armor actually works as armor. When Emilio Estevez tries to like knock out that one grunt mercenary guy, hits him on the helmet with like a metal rod,
right,
and it doesn't hurt him because he's wearing a helmet. I'm like, you know what? Okay. And that's what I think that sums up this movie. I'm like, I'm like picking things apart, and then all of a sudden it'll give me something that I'm like, okay, you were good right there. It's kind of like Anthony Hopkins, the background looking fake, and then all of a sudden there's a reason for that because it's all digital. He's dead this entire time. I'm like, oh, that was smart. I don't think it was smart. I think you guys just kind of lucked into that. But like with the armor actually being functional, I was like, oh, that was cool. But I mean, dude, Zach, like, did you think any of those quote unquote future cars were cool looking?
No, there's a car chase scene where Emilio, like, he hijacks, the Freejack hijacks a
champagne delivery truck.
Yeah, which looks like a giant wine barrel. And it's so
stupid.
Oh, man. It looks like something out of National Lampoon's Vacation, like something that, Clark
European
Griswold
Vacation
would get. Yeah, totally. But they won in the Pig in the Poke contest.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you want us to break down or discuss National Lampoon's European Vacation,
Hell
put that on the list.
Hell
we'll
yeah.
happily do that. Bonjour, my good man.
Look, kids, fucking Big Ben.
Anyways.
Saw that shit in the theater, baby.
Wow. God.
There's titties in that movie
Chevy
too.
Chase.
Chevy Chase, baby.
I love Chevy Chase.
But
that
car is so stupid looking. And Zach, it's like the movie's supposed to take place in like 2009 or something like that. And that truck is clearly like a Ford like 1989 pickup truck.
Well, so there's that. Yeah, it looks like literally something they just pulled off the lot for some other movie. And then there's this random red, like futuristic buggy, that's chasing them. A red buggy, like that's what the bone jackers would be.
The boner jackers.
Oh God, that's what they would be driving. Like, and it fizzles out. It's very, RoboCop came out 3-4 years prior to this, and they're using like cars of that time in the movie and just made them look a little bit more futuristic. That's all you got to do. This is like literally they went to the Italian, back lot of whatever their big studio is there and found these, old like Megaforce cars that like Hal Needham didn't want to use. Like, don't use those. Those look too cheap. Well, no, Freejack grabbed those and they used them for Freejack.
But then there's also, so there are these, like, the Bonejacker guys, Mick Jagger's people have those kind of cars. Yes, I noticed that, and I thought Megaforce Reject from that one. But then there's also, Zach, like the fabricated, like the bus, the car that, Grandel Bush drives for Rene Russo's character, like the limousine and everything. And these are actually, like, fabricated, futuristic-looking cars, and none of them are cool. And I think that's, like... And I literally, after watching this movie for the first time, Zach, I was thinking about RoboCop, and I was thinking like how cool they made the future look by just using stuff that was everyday. Like the armor that the police officers are using is like SWAT team armor. But the fact that every beat cop wears the armor gives you an idea of how dangerous everything is. They're just using Ford Tauruses, like the newest model of Ford Tauruses, and kind of sprucing them up a little bit with some roll cages and stuff like that. It's like this movie tries too hard and just misses on all the design departments. Just give us normal looking shit, because sadly, everything looks normal now anyways. Nothing looks like this. And I know that they didn't know that at the time, and they thought shit was cool, but RoboCop does it better.
Yeah,
And it wants to be Blade Runner, but Blade Runner's supposed to be like, 100 and some odd years in the future, This is only like 18 years later.
Yeah. This film can't figure out what it's doing because you've got those jack-offs.
What kind of name is Poon?
Comanche Indian. You've got those guys looking for Alex Furlong and
his mom.
Yeah, and his mom, which we'll get into in a second.
Yes,
we have to. And then you've got Michelette. Jonathan Banks' character wants to take over the corporation that they're a part of, and so he's got his own faction that is going to go out and goes to try and kill the John Connor from Terminator, because he, if the body is done, then Anthony Hopkins' character can't, jack in what, you know what I mean? Like get into that body. And so there's that storyline going on, which kind of comes out unexpectedly, like in the middle of the second act. Like it suddenly just pops, like there's that component. Because initially Jonathan Banks' Michelette character, like he's disgruntled and he doesn't like Mick Jagger, but he's still kind of in charge, right?
Yeah.
And then Rene Russo, her character, also works for the same company, coincidentally, ? But like she's like one of the head honchos there, and like her role, like you clearly, to me, feels like initially they were going to have her turn on Alex Furlong and have her be a villain.
I thought that was going to be it for a second. Yeah, like it feels like there's some sort of energy there that they were going to do with that. And
they didn't go that route. But they should have gone that route because it would have made more sense. She literally looks like, I don't know if y'all have seen the new Tron movie, but she looks like Gillian Anderson being the mom of the main guy in charge of, whatever the corporation is.
Encom, yeah.
Encom. Yeah. She looks like the mother of the Encom guy, and the Encom guy looks like Emilio Estevez in this because she looks like she should be his mom. It's terrible casting.
Well, I mean,
in that respect. And I love what's her face.
Yeah, and I mean it's weirdly sort of on purpose. Now, Rene Russo is 8 years older than Emilio Estevez
in real life.
And so like when he goes to the future, I get it. Like she has to be older than him, like because 18 years has passed for her character, and obviously it's a blink of an eye for him. So there is an age difference that works fine in the future, although when they, there's still an attraction supposed to be there, it's sort of addressed, and she's like, I'm older now, and he's like, I still think you're beautiful. Like, again, this is another concept.
That's a knock, though.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's right. She's only 8 years older than him. I mean, she is gorgeous. Like, but but she's so old. You know what I mean? In movie standards. But like, yeah. But these are still concepts that like I would again love to see more time spent on. The fact like that she is technically, even though it's only 8, she's technically 18 years older than him, and now in the future. But like, what doesn't work, Zach, is when we have our first act of our film, the first 15 minutes, where it is back in 1991, and, they don't like, de-age her like maybe they would nowadays, but they do little things to make her look younger and everything. But what the problem is...
Yeah, they put a hat on her.
Like they do all the things, like put her in pigtails or something stupid, Yeah. But like the problem is that everything is given away when Emilio and Rene Russo are walking down to the racetrack. He's about to get in the car, and they use a master shot of them walking, and she is a foot taller than him. And it's so apparent, man. Like, it's not as bad when they do a close-up of the two of them, or a two-shot of them, standing next to each other. They put him on an apple box because he's taller than her in all the close-up shots and all the two shots. But the illusion is destroyed when he looks like a little child standing next to his mom in his little racing suit. And I'm like, I don't get fiance vibes here. I get mom-son vibes. And it's just, don't use that fucking master shot, man. Don't use that goddamn master shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, it's not a knock on her at all, but
no.
She towers over him. She looks twice the size. He looks like a little, yeah. And I'm like, wow, Emilio Estevez is a really tiny guy.
He's one of the little guys,
and
he's dwarf on dwarf.
They didn't try to cover that up. David Johansen towers over him because that dude's that guy's a big guy.
Dude, speaking of David Johansen, what makes it worse is the literal scene right after you see them walking together and she's towering over him. David Johansen's like his manager, and he's introducing him to some like investors or whatever. And he literally says, about Emilio Estevez's character, Alex Furlong. He's like, oh, he's, kind of like, touting him up and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, he's photogenic, he's telegenic, he's drug-free, and he's really good to his mom. And I'm like, dude, why did you say that? Like, it just like reinforced the Rene Russo being his mom character. And I know when they wrote that in the script, like that wasn't in their head, but in the juxtaposition of being the next scene after what I just witnessed, I was like, and this is like the first 10 minutes of the movie. And what's even worse, Zach, roll it back another 5 minutes. When Alex Furlong is waking up in bed, why is there a railing next to his side of the bed that's kind of, dude, it's kind of like it's the top bunk, but on the ground floor, It's like, I'm like, does he fucking roll out of bed like a child or something? Like, who the fuck as an adult has a railing right next to him? It's like, well, so you can put the 2 alarm clocks there. I'm like, fuck you. This is ridiculous. So it's like bang, bang, bang. In the first 15 minutes, everything about the movie tells me if I didn't have dialogue on, like if I didn't have sound on, I was watching this while I was working out or something, I'd be like, oh, that's mom and son right there. Like, that's what that is. There's no question there. It's mom and son. That's what you're telling me. That's what this movie's telling. He is some kind of fucking, what was the kid doctor?
Doogie Howser?
He's some kind of Doogie Howser race car driver. If I was watching this without the sound on, I'd be like, he's a Doogie Howser race car driver.
I mean, you do that with the sound on because his voice is so high-pitched. He sounds like a little child. He really does. He really does.
Oh, my God, bro.
And, I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, who would I cast in Rene Russo's role that would look maybe a little bit more contemporary? I was thinking like Elizabeth Shue would have been a much better counterpoint to him.
Well, then would you have like basically aged her up then in the future stuff?
Yeah,
and the only problem is though, the future stuff is like 2/3 of the movie. So you have to age her up like for all of those shots. Now, real quick, Linda Fiorentino was originally supposed to play the role.
That's interesting. I've heard she's kind of hard to work with. So,
well, you heard that from Kevin Smith, I think.
Yes, I think I did. Yeah. Well, no, I heard it with someone else.
Okay.
John Dahl, who directed her in The Last Seduction. She was the lead in that. That's a great movie, by the way, with Bill Pullman, I think, is also in that. John Dahl, great director, did Red Rock West. If you want to see a low-key thriller with Nick Cage and Dennis Hopper and Laura Flynn Boyle, that movie rules. Red Rock West. Vinegar Syndrome put out a Blu-ray of it a couple years ago, and I never got the like physical big case that the cardboard case they gave it to you in, the slipcover, was not that great. But it's a really cool movie. It's got a great soundtrack too. Dwight Yoakam, I think, is in it. Anyways, Red Rock West. But
go back to like what I'm curious because like you're saying you like Elizabeth Shue or something like that. So like, and I'm asking you, are you casting based on Alex Furlong 1991, or are you casting based on 18 years in the future? Because I do think they were casting based on Rene Russo being older in the future. Although the irony is Linda Fiorentino is only 4 years older than Emilio Estevez. So it's almost closer to what you're talking about. So if you did cast Elizabeth Shue like you're talking about, would you have like made her older in the rest of the movie? Hey everybody, Corey here. I just want to let you know that we'll be right back after these short messages.
Hey everybody, I'm Tim.
And I'm Dean.
And we're the hosts of Talking Back. We're a retro-based podcast covering movies, comics, video games, and more.
Check us out every Monday where we hit the rewind button and dig into some of our favorite content from the past. We like to keep things fun, lighthearted, and informative.
Do you feel like you need more nostalgia in your life? Then check out Talking Back. We're available everywhere podcasts are found.
Have you been wondering where's the beef? Well, on our podcast, Throwback Trivia Takedown, you might just find that out, as well as some other things about the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
We're a nostalgic-based trivia show that pits two challengers head-to-head in a duel of the decades, with categories ranging from movies, TV, and music, to slang, food, and fashion. You're sure to get the best in retro-themed trivia.
So strap on your jelly shoes, grab a Surge, and walk like an Egyptian to your favorite podcast app and check out Throwback Trivia Takedown.
I heard even Mikey likes it.
And now, back to the show.
I don't think you need to make her look that much older.
18 years is a lot of time.
I mean, it is, but Rene Russo pretty much looks the same from when she did, like, put a gray streak in their hair or something like that, or, you know, have her pull her hair back instead of. But they don't do a whole lot to Rene Russo to make her look different. And by the time they actually, like, because they do get back together, and there's a whole, you know, she doesn't trust him at first, but then she eventually does trust him for no reason, you know. Like, it makes sense in the scheme of things, but she looks the same to me. Like, I look at her and I'm like, no, she looks the same. She doesn't look that much older than him. 18 years is a long time. Think about what you look like 18 years ago versus
Dude, think
now.
about what I look like fucking 5 years ago is insane.
That could have been the twist, that her body, she Freejacked too. That would have been cool.
Can you Freejack yourself?
No, like, what I'm saying is...
No, oh yeah, you can't. You're right. How could you?
She's like, it's another lady
that looks
who
like
Freejacks the body, but then takes on her name.
Oh, okay. But
I don't know.
Then that wouldn't
work.
No, but this is cool. There's concepts here. The Freejack concept is awesome.
But they never play on it after that. Like, it's literally just Emilio Estevez's character. That's the only Jack that they freed.
Yeah, I know. And they have a term for him. And, like, you would be like, are there other Freejacks running around or something?
But we never know about it.
Exactly. Or, like, just see another... We needed to also see another character in the movie, someone working for this corporation. We need to see another one that was a Freejack. Like, have a young, good-looking guy and be like... And have, like, Emilio, like, be like, I recognize you from, like, the 90s or something, like, or the 80s. And he's like, yeah, you know, I was a famous, like, Tom Cruise or something. You know, like, have another example of somebody that Alex Furlong recognizes from that time period and be like, how come you're not any older? Oh, you're a Freejack as well.
They should, I mean, that could have been the comedy part of it, you know, where they jacked off, like,
Freejack
Tom Cruise and Sharon Stone and, like, people who were popular in 1990, you know, or 91 or 92. Like, think of popular sports people, Magic Johnson, you know, and like that.
Well, you don't want AIDS, you know, but you know.
Wow.
Well, he's cured, so it's okay.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? George Michael, you know, like, whatever. Like, they could have gone down that route and, like, gone full parody in, which would have been more of like a Demolition Man vibe. Yeah. But they literally just went with the one Freejack.
And how hard it was for him to get free to be jacked, like, to get to break free of his confines. How often does this happen? Like, that you have a term for it, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, they that could have been a whole other thing too, like an underground group that escaped. You know, there's maybe 2 or 3.
Now you're back getting into Dennis Leary and Demolition Man territory.
Right.
Demolition Man was probably like a couple years after this, right? Like, I think like mid to late 90s.
I feel like it was, yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Like, this film, while the 90s, there were definitely movies in the 90s that we enjoyed, and we will probably talk about those. This was a weird time, 92,
but obviously probably filmed in 91, and it came out in early 92, so yeah, it was clearly all filmed in 91. You know, it's on the cusp of the 80s, but it doesn't feel like an 80s movie, except for that banger Scorpion song at the end of it. I mean, seriously, that'll never get old. I immediately was like treadstone back to, like, oh my God, I forgot about this song and how much I love this song and how big this song was in January of 1991 because they were promoting the hell out of this movie. And I think the music video for this was on the VHS tape when you bought or rented Freejack the movie. So they really pushed it. Zach, I want to really quick circle back, and I have a thought. I think you're right, just with the Rene Russo casting. You cast younger at the beginning because what my problem is in the entire movie is my suspension of disbelief was destroyed from the get-go of her, like, looking older than him and just having this vibe. you cast for the correct age at the beginning, and then you do something simple, like put a gray streak in their hair and tell me they're 18 years older, and I'll be like, I'll buy it. But the fact that you can't retroactively go back and make me buy it when I don't buy it from the beginning.
Yeah, no, I agree. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And by the way, Demolition Man came out in 1993.
1990, a year later, and it's so vastly superior to this movie.
I haven't seen that movie since the theater, but I just clocked it. It's an hour and 55 minutes, and I'm like, yikes, that feels long to me.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, but I do like it immensely better than this. I saw that one in high school. I'd seen that. That's a movie I see like every 10 to 12 years or something, and I always enjoy it.
Well, it's funny because that movie had the Demolition Man song. I think Sting did that version, so there's a Sting song for that at the end credits. Like I said in the beginning of this, Speed had Billy Idol singing a song, I think. And then this one, the Scorpions, at 1991, Scorpions were like, they had Winds of Change, that came out. That was probably their last really big hit. Scorpions were starting to fade out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's just the epitome of this movie, that's it. But like what I do think it does right, sadly, is that it gets, the future kind of correct and sort of where we're heading.
Yeah.
How the middle class is absolutely being obliterated, and there will, if we're on the same trajectory, as we are right now, there will be no more middle class. It'll just be the poors and the riches. And I could totally see some piece of shit like Sam Altman, the guy who runs Chat GPT or whatever, OpenAI, all that bullshit, that guy, I can totally see him doing something like this. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is already talking about creating an AI version of himself so that employees can deal with that instead of dealing with him. And I'm like, what kind of fucking nightmare do we live in? And I feel like, sadly, like this movie kind of gets it. Like that, I think it fucking nailed, nail on the head. Obviously it's years earlier than it should have been, but I think that's on the right trajectory. And then some of the interesting stuff, like it's goofy, but it's not against the realm of impossibilities. Like when Mick Jagger is chasing after Emilio and in that stupid champagne truck, but it has a laptop. It's like connected to the internet, and everything. Cool. Yeah. And he's able to hack it and like talk to, Emilio as they're driving, and Emilio tries to close the laptop and it opens itself back up again. That's a little bit ridiculous, but at the same time, it was funny. Like, and it was also one of those moments that that kind of starts to make their friendship sort of blossom weirdly. Like I like when Emilio like is taking out Vasendek's men and everything. And he's like, "Hey, how am I doing?" And Vasendek's like, "Not bad." You know what I mean? Yeah. He's like, "Yeah." There's like there's some respect there, and it starts to blossom and everything.
I do like that. I did like their rapport. That also could have been done with a very simple line of someone saying to Vasendek, you've jacked off 18, or you've captured 18 Freejacks in the past year, and you've never lost one, and this better not be your first, or something like that. Making the stakes higher, because the stakes were always just, they were never established. It's like he escaped, they got to catch him, but make it more incentivized for Vasendek. Why is he like, clearly, yeah, he's getting paid, but make it more meaningful, make the stakes higher.
And why does he have like an army? Like, so the movie tells us that when they, bring the person up in time and everything, they kind of wipe their brains and everything. And if they don't, they have a team of, scientists there to do it. Bada bing, bada boom. That's it. Like, there's no problem. But he has an army of like 50 men, at his disposal, guns, trucks, machine guns, armor. Like, this takes some financing. So one concept that I understand is that when they have to go retrieve the body at a time, they might not be able to do it in a safe zone. So they have to set up a perimeter, all that kind of stuff. Okay, I get that. But like, yeah, like, and then it takes all these people to chase after one dude. But yeah, Zach, I want to know, how many times have you ever lost a dude? Like, is this the first time? if so, what are the protocols? You know what I mean? Like, is this too much? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah. It's I mean, that's a frustrating thing. You know, I will say, and like, I know we both tried to look for things that like, we both looked for things to like in this film, and it was hard, I think, for both of us.
I tried so hard, Paula.
Yeah.
I tried so hard.
And you know, I will say, so Lawnmower Man came out the same year as this movie, and Lawnmower Man had this almost the exact same CGI special effects, more extensively, because that was more like virtual reality. This had elements of virtual reality, though.
Yeah.
This was kind of toe dipping into that.
Yeah.
And there was a virtual reality phase, you know, for a minute. There was that movie, what was it? Mind Scan or Mind... Brain Scan, I think it was.
Circuitry Man or something like that.
Well, I know Brain Scan came out.
Arcade.
Well, yeah, the Arcade was Full Moon. Brain Scan came out in 1994. But you know, like that kind of concept of like, well, going into another dimension of your mind and computers, and so this did a pretty good job of that. I felt like that what happened at the end was kind of a cool concept. And then, you know, I actually don't have a problem with the ending. I'm actually kind of satisfied with it, because it does have this upbeat, wrapped up little ending. And with the concept that, you know, Alex is going to live the rest of his life happily with, you know, his 85-year-old girlfriend, and in
charge of the company, because everyone thinks that he's Anthony Hopkins' character, you know.
Yeah,
and I like how Vicentac, whatever, Victor, Mick Jagger, I like how he basically helped him at the end, you know, with the code and everything like that. And he's like, fuck it. But again, I would love to know, you know, like why. But yeah, I liked it. I at the end of the day, even though like it's a slog to get there, and the second time I was watching, I was trying so hard to like pay attention in the middle of the movie. But like by the end, in that final confrontation, I'm still engaged with it in the ending. Like I like that. Yeah, I like what Anthony Hopkins is doing. I like all the concepts that it's playing with. The spiritual switchboard and Anthony Hopkins, you know, brainwaves can only be in there for so long. Otherwise, they're not retrievable again. That's cool, man. I dig all that stuff. Like, yeah, and the ending, the way it sort of ends, I'm totally cool with that. I'm very satisfied by the ending. And maybe if the movie was an hour and a half and it didn't feel like an hour and 50 minutes, you know, to get to that ending, I think I would be a little bit less harsh on it. But it is such a slog to get there. And there's so many cool concepts that I just was like, why did you drop the ball on that? Like, give me more. Tell us more about that. But yet you chose to give us like 4 more minutes of Emilio riding the motorcycle, you know, like riding the motorcycle through the diner and everything where David Johansen got shot, you know, and yet his body's gone. And that guy's back to eating at the table again that shot him, you know, even though his table was knocked over, you know, like it's weird shit like that. I'm like, why did we have to turn back around and give us 5 more minutes of motorcycle action? Trim that, or take that time and give us more character development. Give us more interactions with Rene Russo. Give us more interactions, like when he was like, you know, to that other guy, Shay. He's like, you know, do you guys have anything going on? The guy, you know, Shay's like, no. And they're like, okay, we're done here. Like, no, give us something. Give us some conflict. You know,
don't give it. Just you got to take all those things out, because that otherwise it's a 2-hour movie. You take like it's got to tighten it up. And I Grandel Bush, by the way, as Boone, like he has this really cool sequence at the end where he is assisting Alex, and he's the chauffeur driver or the bodyguard of Rene Russo, and his character is really cool. He has like a cane that's a sword, you know, and suddenly
he's got a pistol with it. Yeah,
he's like a kind of like almost like a samurai.
Yeah,
and that's really awesome. But you know, it gets handled too quickly. Like I'm like, I want to see that guy continue on the journey as his like partner, you know?
Yeah, because he dies. He gets shot in the arm. And like, you know, like they have this rapport, because this is where you find out that everyone is rooting for Alex Furlong. And he's like, I know you're doing it for you, but my grandmother, my 80-year-old grandmother, she's following you.
Right.
She loves you. And you're like, I'm like, is he on TV? Like, how are we even knowing this? The only thing we ever get is a giant billboard in New York, electronic billboards, like with his face on it.
Yeah, that's
he's
it.
got like $10 million ransom or something. And he's like, oh, that's a good amount of money, and everything.
But you fix that. Go ahead.
But like real quick. So Grandel Bush gets shot in the arm and he's like, look, make it, Alex, just make it for my grandma. And Alex like, okay, I will. And the people who are hunting him like get to Grandel Bush. And he rolls over and he's like, surprise, motherfuckers, because he's got a grenade. And he blows all of them up. And I'm like, you really had to blow yourself up? Like, I think they could have treated that arm wound. Like, you didn't have to kill yourself.
They weren't going to kill him.
No.
They were going to.
You could have shot them. You didn't have to blow yourself up.
Yeah,
it
right.
was just so unnecessary.
So unnecessary to write his character off like that. And
dude, make him to the end. And then when they're going down in the elevator, he's in between Rene Russo and Emilio Estevez. And when the door opens up, he just gets guns down by all the guards. Do that.
That works for me. Did I do that? Yeah,
Did I do that?
That works for me. Or, John Shea's character, who's kind of like a underground liberator who helps people. Like, his character is the guy who rescues Freejacks and gets them free. That's what, and so
jacks them off.
Jacks them off, yeah. And so, like, he just simply has to have one line where he says, why Emilio says, why is everyone, rooting for me? And he says, because you're the first one to break free of this, and if you can do it, others can do it, and you're the beacon of hope, or like give some like blanket statement. Done. Then you know why he's a martyr,
dude,
or a hero.
You just made me think of something else too. David Johansen's character mentions that the reason that these billionaires grab people from back in time is because all the people currently living and born nowadays, like, they're living without the ozone layer, so they're all like irradiated, and they have all these like diseases. And I like the fact he's like, they've done drugs that weren't even invented in the 90s. It's like, cool. I like that. That's cool. So then Emilio,
yeah,
he shouldn't just be running from the Bonejackers. Like, there should be like also, I don't know if you've ever seen this movie called Repo the Genetic Opera.
Yeah.
But like it's a really cool movie. But like there should also be like rogue doctors that like want to capture him to harvest his, to them, perfect blood. There's no diseases in that blood and stuff. Like, so people should be also turning him in to those people. Like, it's sad, and I don't want to say this, but like an Escape from LA, like where Bruce Campbell plays that, that evil doctor. Give us something like that in this. Like, just him come across somebody like that,
I mean, I think that movie was 90 minutes, so I'll boost it up over Freejack.
I mean, I never thought I'd say this in my life, but I would watch Escape from LA over Freejack.
Oh yeah, me too. In a heartbeat. And by the way, so everybody, let us know in the comments, is this discussion swaying you? If you liked Freejack, are you less liking it now? And Paulette, is it okay that we're bashing the heck out of this movie? Like, did you kind of had to know that we were going to go down this road, right? And the third thing is, if you could Freejack anybody, who would you Freejack?
Who would you Freejack off? And to Zach's point, like a point A, to your first point, if you do like Freejack, when was the last time you watched it? Like, really, when was the last time you watched it? And
right.
And were you sober when you watched it? Because I was. God damn it, I was.
Yeah, I mean, we say nostalgia's one hell of a drug, right? Did you look at this? Do you look at this with rose-colored glasses and go, God, I loved Freejack. I have a big bucket of popcorn, and I have my icy and my red vines, and it was the best day of my life. All those things are great. Doesn't mean the movie was.
I mean, Zach and I are absolutely, victims to that as well. And
yes.
Yeah, sometimes, you go back in time, you rewatch something, like, okay. But yeah, I think, man, 92, bro. I was 14, right? Because I was born in 78, so I think I was around 13 or 14. No, I was probably 13 because it was right before my birthday. So yeah, man, I clocked this even then as bougie. I was like, nah, man, this ain't gonna be one of those ones that I watch. But I do know it was kind of big on HBO or one of the cable channels, Cinemax or Showtime or whatever back in the day. So it got heavy rotation back in the 90s because of it.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. I think it got a second life on cable and in the video store. But I do want to list off the other movies that came out that same weekend. That
oh yeah, please do.
Freejack came out, because this is pretty interesting. A Gnome Named Norm. Stan Winston directed that movie, by the way, with Anthony Michael Hall. If you want to see another trash movie, whoo baby, it is. Is it better than Freejack? Maybe. Do you want us to break this movie down on Podcasting After Dark? We will. If you sign up to the highest level on our Patreon, we'll do it. We'll do it for you. So Freejack came out that same weekend. Hand That Rocks a Cradle came out that same weekend.
I saw that in the theater with my dad.
I'm so sorry. And the last one that came out the same weekend was Cuffs with Christian Slater.
I have that on Blu-ray. I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, I mean, out of all of those, Cuffs is the best one.
Hand That Rocks a Cradle. But yeah, Cuffs is a solid second.
Hand That Rocks a Cradle is probably the best executed, but Cuffs to me is the most fun.
Remember he gives his partner like laxatives or something, like
he's
all farting and passing out and everything.
Yeah, Tony Goldwyn's in it and Mila Jovovich and
Cuffs. Fucking Cuffs.
It's when Christian Slater was peak.
But like compared to those, Freejack was the big blockbuster that everyone was expecting though.
Well, if you look at Cuffs is a Christian Slater movie, Hand That Rocks a Cradle is a Rebecca De Mornay movie.
Was she big at that time?
I think so, yeah. 1990, I think so.
And it did well, right? I mean, I think it did pretty well.
Yeah, Annabella Sciorra was a big deal at the time. And then Freejack, out of all of those, it probably had the biggest names. Anthony Hopkins, Emilio, and Mick Jagger, and Rene Russo, I think, was a big deal at the time too.
Was she in Days of Thunder?
No, that was Nicole Kidman, but
yeah.
Rene Russo was in she was in some Kevin Costner, Tin Cup or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Thomas Crown Affair. And
yeah,
I think I don't think Freejack was her biggest movie. We actually didn't go into her filmography all that much.
We didn't, because I mean, everyone knows Rene Russo.
I know, we're like, oh, it's Rene Russo. But I think it's worth noting that she was in some movies up until that point that were kind of worth pointing out.
Right.
One of those being, and I'm stalling for time.
Yeah. You're vamping.
Yep, I'm vamping. So I think her biggest movie that it's one of her first movies she was actually in, was Major League. And that was when she kind of burst on the scene, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
And then
he's going to need a rocket up his ass to catch that one.
So she did 3 movies prior to this that were kind of a big deal. She did she was on a show called Sable, 7 episodes of a show called Sable, which looks actually really cool. A children's book writer serves as a mysterious... No, Sable. Listen to this. Save this for TV Obscura. A children's book writer serves as a mysterious vigilante at night. Oh, I remember this show. I watched it. It was really good.
Oh, shit.
Sable. Yeah. A children's book writer serves as a vigilante at night. We're going to break that. We're going to talk about that one.
TV Obscura all the way.
Mark it, everybody. Mr. Destiny, which, this is when Jim Belushi was like a leading man,
Yeah, I remember
this was a really good movie. Linda Hamilton is in it. Michael Caine, John Lovitz, Hart Bachner, great cast. Rene Russo, I think she's kind of like the, not femme fatale, but she's like, the like villainous kind of female actor in it. Mr. Destiny was really good. And then she's in One Good Cop, which was a decent Michael Keaton movie with Anthony LaPaglia and Rachel Ticotin. One Good Cop was decent. I remember it being like okay, saw it in the theater. And then right after this, she does Lethal Weapon 3. So
there's the big one.
Yeah. Anyways, Major League.
Major league.
Major pain in my ass. And Paulette, this was not a major pain in our ass. This was actually enjoyable to revisit and walk down memory lane and see whether or not, it's worth watching. It's free on YouTube, by the way. So if anybody wants to put themselves through the torture of it, go watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, I bought the DVD for like $18 or something off of Amazon. But yeah, no, Paulette, even whatever the rating is, the final result, I still enjoy watching it.
And you enjoyed listening to us talk about it.
I hope so. You paid for this. There's just, it's amazing that on paper, this is such a Corey movie. But yeah, it misses. You know what? It swings for the fences. It tries. I'll give it that. It tries. It just doesn't quite land. But that happens. They all can't be the Onion movie. That was out of left field, and Zach and I both were blown away by how much we love that fucking film.
This is true.
And offline, like we talked, we're like, we're not gonna like this, are we? Like, because before we watched it, and then I remember we both texted each other like, holy shit, this is fucking great. I was like, I know, like, holy shit. So, but I get it. I also get why you pick Freejack, and I get why people would like this. It has all the makings of a cult classic. So yeah, let us know. Like Zach said, let us know in the comments, on Spotify, on Instagram, on Patreon, what you thought of it, what you thought of Freejack, and who would you Freejack off in the past?
You said it.
And can a guy jump into like a female body? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
does that
Remember
be a
that
guy
movie
to a
Switch with?
Yes. I weirdly rented that film as a kid and actually liked it. I think I was like 14 or something when I watched that. I really actually liked it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that was what's his name, right? Guys, names tip of my tongue. It was
I know Perry King was in that movie because he's the man that goes into Ellen Barkin's body.
Yeah, but his friend that he kind of falls in love with,
it's Jimmy Smits.
Jimmy Smits. Yes. Yeah, she's hanging off of like the gun. Yeah, when did that movie? That came out in 91, the same year. Holy shit. I loved that movie as a kid. I watched it when I was like 14 years old.
Blake Edwards, yeah.
Yeah, it was a Blake Edwards movie, fucking Skin Deep. I was like, I fucking love this movie. I love Skin Deep. Zach and I are going to cover Skin Deep on the show one of these days.
We sure are. It's got a great cast too. All his movies always had a great cast.
Damn, 91 was a good year, man. It's just there was also Freejack. So
yeah.
Bullet, I hope you enjoyed this. Zach, we are now covering Larry Cohen on the Auteur de Force. We're covering, so it's the Cohen factor under the Auteur de Force tier, but we just started the Auteur de Force with Larry Cohen, and we started it with Bone, a very interesting film with Yaphet Kotto. But it's a lot of fun, so guys and gals, go check that out, and if you sign up now, you get to unlock a shit ton of content. But other than that, Zach, what is going on $2 late fee? How about this? This will be dropping at the end of April. So what's going on Territory Marks?
Well, I'll say on $2 late fee, we just dropped an interview with Brian McNamara, who was in, speaking of 90s movies, he was in Mystery Date, which came out in 1991. He was also in Arachnophobia, which came out the year prior. Short Circuit, which came out earlier in the 80s. A whole slew of movies. Caddyshack 2. He's got some funny stories about Caddyshack 2. But just dropped that interview, and it was really special. We did it in studio here in Santa Monica, which was great. And then Territory Marks is kicking off season 4 with me and Paul. So we are covering a staple of one particular territory who toe dipped for one match into another territory. He's a part of an elite tag team, and he and his manager went to another territory for one match, and we're covering that one. It's really interesting and wild, and there's some insight from a guy who actually was a part of that match at the time. So Territory Marks is rocking and rolling. A whole lot of content.
And growing and showing.
Every day, my friend.
And free jacking and black jacking. I don't know.
Get your PSAs checked.
Yes. Oh man, Zach, this was a blast. I mean, I sometimes discussing movies that we don't love turn out to be a very fun sort of discussion, and I very much enjoyed this one.
Agreed. Thanks, Paulette.
Thank you, Paulette. And if you'd like to be a Patreon member of the show and tell us what movie to watch and review, then go check out patreon.com/podcastafterdark. And as always,
we'll catch you on the dark side.
Emilio!
Be sure to subscribe to Podcasting After Dark on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. You can support the show by joining our Patreon page, picking up a t-shirt from our merch store, or leaving us a 5-star review. Follow us on Instagram at Podcasting After Dark. All links can be found on our website at www.podcastingafterdark.com. And join us next time for another cult movie or TV show review with Corey Stevenson and Zach Schaefer.
Hey everybody, it's me, Corey.
And Zach.
We wanted to tell you all about our exclusive Patreon tier called A Tour de Force, where each season we go through a different auteur's complete filmography in order from beginning to end.
If you sign up now for just $5 a month, you unlock our complete back catalog for John Carpenter, Don Coscarelli, and William Lustig. That's over 50 episodes.
And we are currently going through Larry Cohen's filmography, so you'll get all those episodes as well.
Thank you to everyone that supports Podcasting After Dark on Patreon.
You keep the show going. And as always,
we'll catch you on the dark side.